You have found the Lines.com MLB podcast for Thursday, June the 8th. My name is Steven Andress, filling in for Eli Hershkovich while he's on vacation, joined by our resident MLB betting expert, Mo Nuwwarah. Mo, how are you, my friend? I know you got a day game bet in there. We don't typically talk about day games on this show, but everybody can find it by going to the Discord channel, right?
Yeah, Discord channel. Fun time every day. Been active. Me, not so much since I've been in Las Vegas for a few days, but I'll be getting back into it now.
But you're back now, a couple days off, well-deserved days off, played a little poker out there in the desert. For those that aren't familiar, go to the lines.com, top right corner, hit that Discord button. You can find his bets under the MLB staff bets column. You can also go to the Rolls server and opt in by clicking the emojis to make sure that you get a push notification every time Mo makes his MLB bets to make sure you're getting the best of the lines each and every day. And Mo, it's been pretty successful at this point, right? Since opening day, we're profitable here.
Yeah, good season so far in the Discord. Not so much on the video selections so far. I guess that means I'm doing better on weekends and day games. But yeah, think plus like 15 units or so. Basically breaking even so far on these picks so far.
For sure. 103 and 83 comes out to a little more than 15 units on the season. We have a smart audience, Mo. This isn't like the low-hanging sports betting crowd group that's going to like nitpick a one-day sample size in MLB and be like, man, this guy sucks. No, man, we have the long-term vision here. The man is profitable for the season and hope to continue that going here with the Thursday matchups. And we'll start with the night game bet that you have here, the Houston Astros at the Toronto Blue Jays, 7:07 first pitch between Framber Valdez and Jose Berrios. What did you see in this one to go ahead and bet on the Astros tonight?
Yeah, just still thinking Framber Valdez is usually not being valued properly, which is kind of crazy to say about a pitcher who's like a definite ace, number one, whatever you want to call him. This season, some of his peripherals are still like, xERA still never likes him. Thinks he's just like getting pretty lucky on balls in play. But I think at almost 600 innings, we can be pretty sure that that's not the case. And he's still getting tons of grounders, throwing harder this year, up to almost 96 on his average heater, which is pretty crazy. Getting hit a little harder, but I think basically everybody is because of who knows if MLB is going to admit there's a new baseball, but it definitely seems like the ball is getting hit harder this year by basically everybody. So not really worried about that. And just, everything else is really just shipshape for him. Probably a better than 3 ERA, true talent level, I think. That's just like quite a bit above where Jose Berrios is. I know he's doing very well this year, and I've bet on him actually definitely more than I faded him. I don't even know if I faded him once because I do think he's doing well, and I just think when Framber is this good and the Blue Jays don't project to hit him that well, they have been a little bit weak against lefties so far this year, below average offense for lefties, which is kind of crazy to say. Such a right-handed heavy lineup that's really crushed lefties in the past, but they did balance it out this year, have a few more left-handed hitters in the lineup. And when guys like George Springer and Alejandro Kirk are struggling the way they are, it really does take kind of some of the teeth out of their, anti-lefty lineup there. So, I did think the Astros should be a little bit of a bigger favorite here, more like minus 130. They're around minus 115 this morning. I did get minus 115. A lot of the markets at minus 120. I think that's okay as well.
Yeah, I'm checking out the odds board here over at the site. Again, if you're unfamiliar, go into the odds tab, click on MLB, and you can shop the odds across all the sports books so you don't have to flip between all the apps on your phone. And as we record right now, late morning East Coast time on Thursday, still two shops with the Astros at minus 115, a minus 116 still there. Shortest price minus 120. So Still some value there if you have the fair price at minus 130. And you mentioned Valdez and the ground balls. Even if we strip out the balls in play, we're still talking about a pitcher who's top 10 in FIP this year across MLB, top 5 in the American League in FIP right now, sitting under 3 in that advanced statistical category. So he's doing his part in terms of the at bats where the ball does not go in play as well. So let's move on here to the kind of the headline matchup here on Thursday night as well, Mo. No bet for you in the Mets and Braves game, but I mean, with this kind of pitching matchup between Justin Verlander and Spencer Strider, it's I think it's important for us to kind of just take a moment and look at this matchup, look at these two teams with such a great pitching matchup on the mound.
Yeah, I think this will be a game a lot of baseball fans will be excited to bet. I think before anybody runs to bet the Mets at a big number, they should be definitely keeping in mind that I don't think Peter Alonso is going to play today. He did get hit in the wrist by a pitch yesterday. I feel like he's probably going to sit, even though they said x-rays were negative and he's day-to-day. He's a guy who basically never sits out, so if he sits, there's definitely something going on because he just never takes a day off. But maybe the team will want to give him one here the day after he got blasted by a Charlie Morton pitch.
You think there'd be swelling at the very least, right?
Yeah, like I think he's going to not be in the lineup, and I think the line reflects that. So maybe there could be some value on the Mets if Alonso does play. I actually thought the Braves, without Alonso in there, were a little bit underpriced, but it's not enough for a bet for me. I'm usually looking for like 2% edge before I fire. This one was like closer to 1. Yeah, Strider obviously has been tremendous. We wrote the Cy Young piece yesterday and did a Cy Young video. So like I said, he should probably be the favorite right now, and he's probably the best pitcher in the National League. I do think Verlander has had an interesting start to the season for sure. I was definitely down on Verlander's work pretty much all of last year relative to the market. Had to kind of stop myself from fading him eventually because it just like wasn't working. I'm wondering if some like regression is coming home to roost this year. I don't think he pitched near as good as his ERA. Obviously, last year, 1.75 ERA. This year, it's kind of gone the other way. He has a 4.25 ERA, but a lot of his peripherals are more like around 4. So not like a huge difference where last year was a run plus on some of these. But yeah, Verlander, he's got a below average ERA, below average FIP, I think, so far. So his Sierra,
he is
his
40,
xFIP,
Mo. He is 40 years old. I mean,
yeah,
at some point, this has got to drop off, right?
this could finally be he could finally be starting to show some cracks here. Now, the strikeouts are way down. The swinging strikes are down, and they were already down last year. So I definitely think there should be some cause for concern. But that being said, his chase rate is still solid. So that's what makes me wonder if he is going to recover somewhat. So I do still have him projected above average. But it wouldn't really surprise me if he didn't rebound and this was kind of the start of him just being a whatever, unexciting pitcher. I do think maybe if I were to bet this game, maybe the Braves run line might be a good look just because this team does tend to, when things are going well, the balls in play are falling, they'll put up a lot of runs, but not going to fire it personally.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his game log, he's just been really inconsistent over his past 4 starts. You just don't know what you're going to get from Verlander. You know, last start out only gives up 1 run to the Blue Jays in 6 innings. Start before that, given it was at Coors Field, but 6 earned runs over 5 innings. Before that, against the Guardians, goes 8 innings, only gives up 1 run, but then gives up another 6 runs before that against the Rays. So, I mean, it's inconsistent here. You know, a bad offense, he dominates, and then a good offense, he also dominates against the Jays. So, I mean, who knows what you're going to get from this guy at this point? But it at least will be an interesting matchup to watch with Strider. I'm glad you mentioned the Cy Young video and the Cy Young article because it's a great piece of content out there. It is always great when we get polling from beat writers on the national scene with these awards. We get it at the 1/3 kind of part of the season here, basically 4 months to go. That video is up on the YouTube right now. Go check that out. The article from Mo is also available, juxtaposing the MLB.com Cy Young polling with where the odds are right now in that market. And Spencer Strider, obviously, near the top of that one. Before we wrap up, one more reminder that Mo did have a day game bet today in the Twins game. If you're watching this video early enough, go to the Discord and check it out. And again, if not, just a second reminder after we mentioned it at the top of the show, go to thelines.com, top right corner, hit that Discord button. Go to the Rolls server, opt in for notifications for every time Mo makes a bet. You'll see the easy instructions how to do so. And if you have the Discord app, every time this man locks in his MLB bets in the morning, you will get a push notification on your smartphone and you'll be able to go and get those same odds that he's betting as well. On top of that, it's just great discussion in the MLB Discord each and every day with the baseball fans that are in there with, just chopping it up, seeing what's going on in the market, having some conversations about the outlook of these teams. Mo, I just want to kind of put you on the spot here. One final thought before we wrap up here. We're at that kind of point where are we starting to believe whether these teams are for real or not? And I just want to know if you think the Texas Rangers are for real because who knows if they'll win the division with the Astros in there. Maybe they'll be a wild card team and have a more difficult path. But I mean, I see that team in the futures perspective having maybe deGrom and Eovaldi as two starters in the postseason. That's just one team I've been curious about. We haven't researched this. We haven't talked about it. So I'm totally putting you on the spot. But is that a team that can kind of emerge like the Phillies last year after having a lot of years without making the playoffs and actually make some noise if they make the postseason?
I'm pretty skeptical of the Rangers just because they've gotten so much mileage out of such a strong offense. I thought that it was a solid offense. I didn't think it was going to be near as good as it has been. And also their bullpen has been, I guess, better than I thought, although every time I bet Texas, their bullpen stinks. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just picking the wrong times, but I mean, the run differential is definitely like super impressive. Like they have the best run differential. They have a better run differential than the Rays now, but no chance of having deGrom, I believe now because of the injury. So that's probably out the door. And Eovaldi, I think he's good. I don't think he's great. So I think they're just like probably above average in a lot of areas. It's kind of like the Phillies, I guess, that were, but the Phillies had such an elite top two. I mean, Wheeler and Nola were so good for them in that playoff run. I don't think they have a single pitcher that's as good as those two guys. That's going to be available. So, and yeah, I do have a hard time believing the offense is going to keep performing this well. I'm hoping my Angels can make a run now that the Rangers lost their top ace, and maybe the Stros keep being just an above average team. So we'll see what happens. I'd be very surprised if the Rangers made any sort of playoff run at this point, though.
Yeah, that deGrom Tommy John news just came out like what in the last 24, 48 hours here, right?
Yeah, I think that was yesterday or the day before maybe. So, yeah, it's a sad situation for Rangers fans. Haven't had anything nice for a decade plus. And, yeah, I thought before the season that the Rangers had a World Series ceiling, but also kind of a low floor. So that's why I was more interested in the Angels from a divisional and win total perspective. But I definitely thought the Rangers had a World Series ceiling, and I think that's kind of been borne out when we watched them this year. But I think that's probably gone without deGrom.
5 years, $185 million. Less than 3 months into the contract. Ouch. Not great. But they still have a very impressive offense. We'll see what happens there. Great insight, Mo. I appreciate it. And the Rangers odds have dipped from around 30-1 a couple of weeks ago down to shorter than 20-1 at most shops. There's still 120-1 left. But again, like Mo mentioned, without the carrot potentially of deGrom being available for the postseason, that certainly makes the path tougher for Texas in the American League. As always, thank you everybody for watching the MLB podcast from thelines.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know in the comments who you are betting on today in Major League Baseball. And if you're listening on the audio side, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. It's free content. We appreciate it. That's that one little thing you can do to kind of help us out. And hopefully you have the best of luck here on June the 8th with your baseball bets. For Mo, I'm Steven. See you next time.